All right, let's take a look at Garzon's by far most interesting attack, at least in my opinion. I just been calling it the Houdini Drop because it literally looks like he's disappearing underneath his opponent whenever he does it. All right, so we see him here get his underhook. Head goes opposite side like normal. Now, this is one of the reasons I think he likes head opposite side. So we can see the opponent kind of leaning into Garzon. And as Garzon continues with his attack, he's going to drop to his inside knee, but also cover a little bit of ground toward his opponent to get underneath him. So he drops, he's cleared his opponent's head, and his knee is shooting toward his opponent's foot just a little bit. All right, so he's completely underneath the opponent, and now the opponent is falling over top of him. All right, this is almost opposite of what his drive attack is. So his drive attack, he's trying to stand him up, and this drop attack, he's trying to make them fall over. All right, and the drive attack, he stands them up to shift their weight, and this one, he makes them fall over and then shifts their weight across with his hook. So as this guy's falling, we see Garzon start to use his underhook and this knee block to shift the opponent's weight across for an easy finish. All right, he has a lot of options off this kind of attack. All right, so again, shifts head position over to the other side, drops to his inside knee, covers a little bit of ground forward, completely clears the opponent's head. In this instance, he reaches for far knee. And then once the opponent falls over, he's trying to catch his balance forward. While he's falling forward, Garzon shifts his weight to the side. And that's really what I think makes this work. All right, let's take a look at some variations of this Houdini Drop attack. This one, he has no opposite side control or his wrist, so his hand's free to attack. All right, so as he drops, again, the opponent's kind of falling over him, and I think he's looking to attack one of the opponent's legs here, which is what he normally does when his hand's free, but this guy makes such a big reaction with his feet going backwards that he just falls straight over. And Garzon just ends up behind him. That one doesn't happen that often, but every now and then, if there's a big reaction, he'll get the guy to fall over into space. Now this one is more typical. So here he's got an overhook, which will give him shoulder twist toward the mat as he drops. So we'll see as he goes, he's going to rebite his overhook. Same drop type motion, a little bit off to this side. He always stays on the side of his underhook when he drops. So he got right hand underhook, he stays on the right side of the opponent's body as he drops. So he drops. Now since he's got control of his opponent's arm, he's able to twist their shoulders, or their far shoulder, toward the mat. So he pulls with his overhook, pushes with his underhook, and since the opponent's falling forward, it's going to be really hard to catch himself to the side. And he gets smacked right to his back. All right, here's what can happen sometimes when he goes to do this drop whip, which is what we saw in the last clip. So he has opposite side control. He has overhook. Now when he goes to drop, a lot of times he's getting that shoulder twist. We can see his opponent's hand is shooting all the way under and across as he pulls it, and his underhook is pushing. We can see the opponent start to go toward his back, but what will happen oftentimes is they'll swim their arm out and over top to try and get a post back in the mat. and you end up just going straight behind him for a fairly easy score. Now, when he doesn't have opposite side control, I think this is what he tries to do most often. So he punches his hook. He drops, catches far knee. And as the opponent's falling into space, pushes with his hook, blocks with the knee control hand, and is going to shift his weight across his body for a pretty easy finish. Okay, here we're going to start looking at some follow-up options when either he misses the far knee or ankle or loses opposite side control when he drops. This first one we're going to look at, he's going to lose opposite side control. So he punches his hook. He goes to rebite up for an inside tie, hoping to get that shoulder twist whip. But as he goes, his hand slips off, loses that opposite side control. And then he's going to continue his motion through the opponent, still trying to put weight on the opposite side, because every now and then, we'll look at it later, he'll be able to shift into them and just get an easy score. All right. Here, he follows it up by coming back up with his underhook and getting inside control again. And he's just going to go right back into his whip. So he pulls the guy up and then gets him close to the edge, which will give him that pressure he wants. Now we can see him actually jumping in and underneath the opponent. Twist his shoulders. Takes him over to his back. Opponent swims out, getting that post in the way from going to his back. Garzon continues to pressure in and across, and will eventually end up with the score. Right here, he loses almost all control, but he continues to shift weight across, which will allow him to get his takedown. So he's got overhook, puts his underhook in, drops, starts his whip motion. Opponent starts to swim out again. Now he's pretty much lost. He's lost his opposite side control with the overhook, and he's basically lost most of his pressure with his underhook. But he's still going to continue to pressure across, putting opponent putting their weight toward the outside of their far hip, which will allow him to score. All right, this one is pretty common of what you'll see happen. So here he goes to whip right away, loses opposite side control, but he still has his underhook in. As he continues to shift weight into them, his underhook slides up and he starts to push the opponent's head away. Right, pushing their opponent's head away while moving into them will shift their weight across. It also, pushing their head away, makes their whizzer or overhook here pretty ineffective. All right. It's hard for a guy to get weight through his whizzer when his head's getting pushed away. So he circles behind, ends up right on top. All right, this one's fairly similar to the last one, except here we're going to see him start to do what I call a foot chase to stop his opponent from circling. All right, so he's got his hook. He's got no opposite side control, so we see him reach for far leg. He misses both legs. Now still shifting weight across the opponent's body. As he continues, we're going to see hand up high towards head, kind of shifting his head away. Now, as he chases, might be hard to see in this clip, but as he chases, we're going to see the foot closest to his opponent, try and catch his opponent's ankle or foot. So as he goes, he steps it over right there. Now we can kind of see it between the opponent's legs. There, now he's got his knee completely over. So this blocks. So once he gets his knee down close to the foot, this blocks the opponent from circling away anymore. And now he can transition to a single leg or seatbelt type finish. So here he's going to shelf the leg up and look to limp arm out of his opponent's whizzer for his score. Here's a similar thing. This one's going to transition up to a traditional single leg. So he punches his underhook, goes drop, reaches for far leg, misses everything, but continues to shift that weight across his body. Opponent swims out. All right, now we see, let's see, where's Garzon's foot? All right, we're gonna see his foot closest to his opponent make a big step and reach for his opponent's leg. Here, he's barely got it. All right, you gotta be careful in this position though, because if the opponent still had an overhook here, where he had something to push back into Garzon with, all right, Garzon's weight is kind of right in the center or even just a little bit shifted away, which is not what he wants. All right, so when he reaches for it with his foot, he wants to immediately continue to shift weight back over where he can get weight down on his foot and his hip back into the opponent, which is what he does right here. So he steps, continues to shift, and drops right in for a single leg, and then comes up through his finish.